Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I just want to start off this video by saying thank you so much to everybody who has been sending me messages, emails, DMs, all of that jazz. I have been missing from my channel for 3 weeks, which is the longest that I've ever gone missing, but the winter funk really got to me and I just needed a little bit of a break. I also went on a family vacation and I did film it, so if you do want to see a little vlog style video, just leave a comment below. I'd be glad to share that. But thank you so much for all the beautiful messages and well wishes. I'm okay. I'm back. I just, got in my head a little, but I'm back. And today I am sharing some Dollar Tree Valentine's decor. I am so in love with this and I'm glad that this is my first video back because I really do think it's adorable. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And don't forget to hit that notification bell because YouTube might let you know when I post. But if not, follow me on Instagram. I always post my new crafts there. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with this wreath form from Dollar Tree. It's in the shape of a heart. And if you don't have one of these, you can always just get a wire hanger and shape one like a heart. I'm actually going to shorten this up, so with my pliers, I'm going to cut the inside of the heart out just to make this a little thinner because I am wanting the really wispy look. If I added too much, then it wouldn't really look wispy. So I'm removing that, and then I'm going to save the middle heart for another project. You don't let anything go to waste. You can just remove that and use it for another project. So now that I have this, it's time to get some floral on there. And I originally was going to use these Dollar Tree ones, but I realized I didn't have enough pink to drape these. So I tried to see if I had anything left over from Christmas, and I didn't have enough of these either, but this would look really cool. These are some that I used in a centerpiece, so I opted for my favorite 97-cent lavender picks, and I get these at Walmart. They're not Dollar Tree, but they are still $1, and if you do want to use Dollar Tree floral, then go for it. They have a ton of options that you can use for this project. I'm going to go ahead and split it in half, and then I'm just going to stick that up top just to make it easier for me to wrap it around. So I'm going to put that in the middle, and then with some Dollar Tree floral wire, and unfortunately I can only find gold. They do have green and black and all sorts of different colors. I'm going to start twisting it around and making sure that everything is in place. You do want to make sure that you're twisting this nice and tight, so if you do have tools to help you twist, then go ahead and do that, and then wrap the rest of the wire around. You can cover it up with more floral later, just make sure that you are tucking in those edges, and then I cut off the rest of the stems. With another bouquet, I'm just cutting that in half and I'm placing it under my other piece, so the top piece is going to be overlapping, and then I'm going to add more floral wire to that. And as you can see, basically the entire thing is just me overlapping other pieces so that it looks nice and wispy. I just think this looks really cute. For the entire wreath, I only used 3 bouquets because, as you can see, I keep cutting it down, and for certain pieces, I just took a bunch of the stems and wrapped it together to make it fit a little better, and I just kept working my way down. So once I got to the very bottom, I made sure to have a little bit hang down, and then I worked on the other side. I did wrap it in place so it looks straight down and doesn't just look like an X, and I think that makes a total difference in the shape. So now I'm going to continue it to the other side, and once everything is nice and full, you can either leave it as is, but I wanted to cover up that little part in the middle, so I used some Dollar Tree lace ribbon, and I just wrapped that up top, and once I wrapped it, I put a little ribbon on there. I am not great with making bows, so I just made a basic little bow, hot glued it in place, and then I decided it would be really cute to put something in the middle, so I grabbed some Dollar Tree twine and I tied it from one side to the other. In the craft section of Dollar Tree, they have these little packs of wood letters. I didn't show the pack, I'm so sorry, but they bring 32 letters, I believe, so I spelled out love, and I didn't have the little clothespins to hook them on, so I just used some hot glue and it made them look like they were hanging on the string. I love this so much because you can use it for spring, so you don't have to worry about taking down your Valentine's decor. I just love it. For the next one, I'm going to be using these wood beads from Dollar Tree as well as a skewer. It's going to make my life a whole lot easier. And basically, I'm going to take the wood beads and put them through the skewer just to help me paint them. Now, if you're spray painting, this is going to be a breeze. But painting with a brush, these are going to move around. So I'm actually really, really glad that once I put them on the skewer, they don't really move around too much. So these are the beads I'm going to use, and as you can see, they're not moving. I'm going to use Vintage White from Folk Art, and I'm going to give it a nice coat. I ended up doing 3 coats, and some of the color does show through, but I actually think it looks really good, and you'll see it in the end. To dry, I skewered them on some floral foam from Dollar Tree while I worked on my other set of beads, and you can make this as long or as short as you want. Make sure that you let it dry really well, and once it's dry, you can go ahead and work with them. But before I move on, I found these beautiful wood hearts from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to give them a coat of agave. I absolutely love this color. You can, of course, use traditional colors, but I wanted something that I would display in my home even after Valentine's, so I went with this color. I'm going to make sure everything is completely dry before moving on, so this is everything that I'm going to need. I'm also going to use some Dollar Tree twine. As you can see, I added some white details to my heart just to make it look a little distressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my twine, make sure I have a clean edge, and just rope it through. By the way, I only painted one side because I thought I was going to put a picture on the other side, but I changed my mind in the long run. So I'm going to make a little knot, and then I'm going to cut down that extra piece. Now with the rest of the string, I'm just going to cut long enough to where all my beads would fit and a little bit more. So now to help guide my beads in, I'm going to use an upholstery needle. You don't have to do this. This is just a lot easier. And then I'm going to grab my beads and start feeding them through. Like I said, you don't have to run out and get an upholstery needle. You can also just fish it through normally, but this made my life a little easier and it was just a little quicker. And you can get one at Walmart or any fabric store. It comes in a multi-pack. So now that I've finished, I'm going to leave this extra string alone, and I'm going to grab another bundle of twine and wrap it around my hand until I get a thickness that I... Once it's nice and thick, I'm going to grab my scissors, cut that little piece in the end, and just keep it as is for a bit. I'm going to grab the end of my original twine, which is attached to those beads, and I'm going to tie it to the beads. And then I'm going to wrap that around the top to create the top of the tassel. Usually I would tie a knot, but this time around I didn't really think it through. This is not how I usually make tassels. So I actually ended up grabbing my hot glue gun and hot gluing the last piece of string, because when I tried to tie it, it really didn't stay in place. So hot glue works just fine. After I hot glued it into place, I just took my scissors and cut the middle. And then I just shaped it a bit so it looks a little neater. And that was it. It was super duper simple. And you have this cute little decor piece, which you can use as is, wrap around a candle, display on a book. It is totally up to you. For this project, you're going to want to use this sign from Dollar Tree. It brings 2 panels. One of them has these little galvanized hearts. So I'm going to use a putty knife, spatula, whatever you call it, and I'm going to remove them. Now I don't want to disrupt the paper too much because I do actually want it to stay intact. You can go ahead and remove the paper if you want to, but I feel like it's a lot easier to paint on top of the paper. For the glitter, I'm going to use that same spatula, putty knife, whatever you call it, and scrape off the glitter first. Then I'm going to vacuum everything up, and with a Dollar Tree sanding sponge, I'm just going to go over everything one more time, trying to get rid of all that glitter, just to make it a little easier to paint and remove some of that texture. So you can paint over this completely in one solid color and you won't see the welcome, but because of the method that I used, you do see it peeking through, and I honestly don't mind. It looks really, really cool. So I'm going to flip this over and remove all of what's holding it together, which is just staples and a little piece of string. And now I'm going to set these to the side and do the exact same thing to a second sign. Now this one says love. And if you like the way that the glitter looks, you can just skip removing it and use your Dollar Tree Mod Podge to seal it in so that it's not flying all over the place. And you can have a really cool candle holder with a lot less work. So that's up to you, and that's another option. Now that I have 4 panels, I'm going to take some Dollar Tree Mod Podge and I'm just going to put the paper that I lifted up back in place. Now I know that you can remove the paper completely, and if you want to, go ahead. But if you plan on spray painting, don't do that because the spray paint will not adhere to the raw surface, just to the part with the paper. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to be spray painting. I'm going to use regular acrylic paint. But even with acrylic paint, I prefer to leave the paper and just painting on top because it's a much smoother surface. Even though I am going to have some texture because of the glitter, this is a lot smoother than removing it. So I'm going to use a Vintage White, which is a folk art acrylic paint. I get it at Walmart or Michael's. Now, as you can see, I'm not covering the entire panel because I actually wanted the Vintage White to match the original color. I'm just going to go ahead and use the original colors that it comes with. So I'm just trying to cover up the middle, leaving the sides brown. I just want to cover up all of the details in that love and welcome. Even though it does peek through, I'm okay with that because it kind of looks like it's saying welcome love. If you just do one color, then you can completely cover it up with 2 coats. But because I'm going in with some brown, once I went over the parts with the texture, it actually highlighted the word, which is why it shows up. So if you don't want welcome and love to show, then just don't go over it with the brown. Just do the brown on the sides. But as you'll see when I move on to my bigger brush, once I go over it, you can visibly see the letters because of the texture. You can see it right here where you can see the love, but honestly, like I said, I don't mind. I think it looks really cool. And now I'm going to move on since this is dry, and you want to make sure that this is nice and straight, so you're going to want to bend it. The pieces that I got weren't straight, so I'm just bending it until one piece fits flush against the other. So some pieces, it's pretty easy to bend into place and it'll fit nicely. Others, not so much, so you're going to have to bend a little bit more until it just fits nicely together. Now that my pieces are straightened out, I'm going to take something with a straight edge and I'm going to use it to help me hold this into place while I am hot gluing. Now I'm just going to take one piece and put a strip of glue and work as quickly as possible and then press it right up against the other piece as quickly as possible and then reinforce it with glue on the inside. You're not going to see that glue, so just go crazy with as much as you want. Now I'm going to do the other side separately, so the exact same thing. I'm going to take my board, hold it up, and then add hot glue and press it right up on there as straight as possible and reinforce it. So because this dries instantly, I can go ahead and move on and add my other piece. And to make my life a little easier, I'm just going to go ahead and add glue to the bottom, but not to that top piece. I'm going to do that from the inside. So once I have it in place and nice and straight, I'm going to go ahead, lift that up, and then add glue from the inside wherever I can. This is going to be glued to a little platform, so I'm really not concerned about how sturdy this is going to be with just the strips of glue from that final piece. I think this is going to be just fine once I add my top and bottom piece. So I'm adding more glue and making sure that this is straight and it's not lopsided. So I'm moving it if I need to move it. And now I'm going to move on to the top. I used a trinket tray from Dollar Tree. I also use this little wood square, which I got at Michael's for $1. You can use a coupon or you can just cut scrap wood. If you have any, it's probably a lot cheaper. I painted everything using the same colors as the rest of the candle holder, and you're going to need 2 coats. I did try removing the letters using some acetone and it did not budge, which is why I'm painting over it. But with 2 coats, it does cover up nicely. I'm going to cover up the piece of wood. And just so you know, I actually ended up using 2 pieces because just with the trinket tray, I didn't really like how it looked. But I did buy a few of these, so thankfully I had these on hand. So once I finish painting it with the vintage white, I'm going to go in with that same brown that I gave the details and just do the edges of everything. So this is what the pieces are looking like, and this covered up beautifully. I'm going to take my wood plaque and put it on the bottom, and then I'm going to grab my little tower and place it on top, make sure that it is nice and straight, and I'm just going to secure that using some hot glue. Now, full disclosure, I only secured the bottom. I didn't secure the top because I wasn't quite sure if I liked the trinket tray where I placed it, because once I put it on, even though it fit nicely, it just looked a little strange because the bottom was so big and then the top was just so small. I did move on and I decided to reattach the hearts that I removed. I should have 6 in total. So I just ended up doing the same 3 that it came with, but only facing vertically instead of horizontally. And honestly, I think this looks the best because I did try doing 2 on each side of the candle holder and I really didn't like it. So after I was done, I removed the trinket tray up top and added another wood plaque, which I painted the exact same way as the bottom. Obviously, I didn't paint the middle because it was going to be covered, and I added my trinket tray on top, and I think this looks so much better. So I love, love, love this candle holder, and it can actually be used as a centerpiece if you add a bowl up top. I just love it. So that's it. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. As usual, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much, and I will hopefully see you on the next one.